Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hello. So we're continuing our spooky season.
Finishing off, in fact.
Yeah, finishing our spooky season. And we decided we wanted to watch one more scary movie.
It's High School Musical 2, which isn't scary, but I thought it would be funny.
It's scary. It's a little scary.
What's scary about it?
It's a little scary, like, as an adult watching it for the first time. You know, it's frighteningly... what's the word for it? I'm having trouble finding a good description.
Alright. But, yeah, because earlier this year we watched the first High School Musical and talked about it on our podcast, and I thought it would be funny to end our spooky Halloween watching period with a not at all scary movie, and I think it's doubly funny because this takes place during the summer, and it's all about summer vacation, and it's fall now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's fall now. You know, in some areas it still feels like summer, so, you know, it kind of fit right in, so. Yeah, so first time watching it, well, I'm sure as you know, because it was my first time watching High School Musical, the first one, back when we did it. So first time ever watching it. And it was pretty interesting watching something was so huge in pop culture, like several years ago. And looking at it now, like to me, it's kind of always like a funny, kind of nostalgic, but not so nostalgic because I never saw it, but nostalgic in a way of like that time period, you know, like the fashion and like what was popular back then and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a very sanitized version of 2007, given
Yeah.
it's a Disney made-for-TV movie, so...
Right. Maybe that's why I meant it was like frightening in the super sanitized Disney way. Like, you know, there's still like all this commentary around like the Disney formula that was like real popular back then. So I think that's what's funny to me. Funny and frightening. So not like frightening as in scary, but you know what I mean, like in a funny way.
Yeah.
Always love to watch old Disney stuff.
Yeah, what were your thoughts about this, generally?
So, at first I was like, wow, that's a lot of song and dance. Obviously, obviously it's a musical, hence the name High School Musical. But right as I was getting into it, I was like, it is like an absurd number of song and dance, like, activity on this movie. But, like, as I was, like, you know, watching it, it's kind of like, you know, I kind of watch it with, like, I'm kind of laughing the whole time in, like, the way that it's, like, this is so funny. Like, this is, like, the outfits are so, you know, 2000s and, like, this whole thing is so, like, Disney formula and, like, you know what I mean? Like, that part to me is kind of funny as I'm watching it. And just, like, as again, watching it as an adult, and I never saw this when I was younger, like, it's kind of, I guess, I don't know, like, I wasn't into the High School Musicals when they first came out. I'm not really that into them now, but I could see, like, why this was so popular then.
Yeah, I mean, this was everywhere at the time.
Yes.
And I remember watching this one more than the first one, because they, like, reran both of these a ton. But for whatever reason, I remember watching this one more, and I remember thinking the songs were better in this one, which, not sure I agree with now.
I can see, I remember, like, I remember one of my good friends, and I think I said this when we first did, you know, the High School Musical, the first one, one of my good friends was, like, really into it, and, like, you know, we were, like, older by this point, as in, like, young adults, you know, when it first came out. And one of my friends was, like, really into it and, like, so excited that the second one came out. And probably still watches it to this day. For me, I was, like, not into it. But I kind of went through, I think it was just, like, at the place of my life at that point. Like, I was more focused on, like, school and like job and whatever you know what I mean? Like I wasn't like watching Disney musicals.
Yeah.
So I just like I purposely like did not watch it back then. I just like wasn't into that. But let me just like preface this by saying, and I've probably said this before, I'm not really that into musicals.
Yeah, me
which a
either.
surprisingly number of people I know are. So it makes me think like, oh, let me check it out. You know, like I might like it. But again and again, like I'm not that into musicals. So kind of weird because I do like a catchy song and dance, but and let me just say overall, it was a good musical. Like it had a lot of again catchy songs and dances, but probably not something I would like watch over and over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of back in the days, this was just on, so like
Yeah,
all
like
the time.
walk me through what you thought back then when it came out. So it came out in 07, right? 2007?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what I thought when I came out.
No.
But like I said, I remember like after it had been out for a little bit, thinking this was the better of the two.
Okay, I gotcha.
And yeah, now I'm kind of mixed on this one. I think the first one's probably better. Like a big reason why is this one's just not that funny to me.
Yeah.
And I thought the first one had some really solid comedy chops.
Yes.
And this one, like, there are a few decent jokes in here, but for the most part, like, it's not great comedic.
This one's like more emotional, like
Yeah,
more like
yeah.
the angsty teenage, like going through some
Definitely.
stuff as a teenager. Yeah.
And it goes for a more, like, character-driven story rather than the more, like, archetypical story of the first one.
Yes.
Which is all about, like, their roles and the status quo, you know? So this one's, like, kind of like, okay, we have that foundation, now let's try to do something with these characters.
Yeah.
Which I think is admirable, but I don't think it quite stuck the landing by the end.
Yeah, and again, part of it is like, is it just because I'm watching it so many years later that I feel that way? Like at the time, was it perceived differently? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I think the big thing people like about this is the musical part. Like,
Yeah.
I think people really like the songs. So, like, you know, I don't think that's changed from now and then.
Yeah, I guess so. So for that part, yeah, for the songs and stuff, yeah, it's got this like campy kind of vibe to me, like where like really catchy tunes. And like I said, a huge amount to me of songs in this, which I think is kind of funny. I do agree with you that the first one was funnier, like with the jokes and the comedic timing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like the first one better, but the more I reflect on the second one, I'm like, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was good. I like that it's in a different setting other than school.
Yeah.
But the team is all still together and you still have this like, you know, team kind of thing. And there's like this kind of struggle with like being a team outside of school, you know, and like finding their identity as they work through these like, you know, pressures, etc. I kind of like that it was in a different atmosphere. Still think Albuquerque is like one of those like why is the setting in Albuquerque?
I don't know.
Like
Yeah.
that to me is just funny. I don't know why that's funny, but I'm just kind of like Albuquerque of all places. Like, yeah, let's do this musical in Albuquerque. So anyway, that part is funny, and I think like I mean, overall, it wasn't terrible. I did find myself getting a little bit bored, you know, toward the middle, and then I kind of like, okay, let me refocus and you know, got to the end. So I will say that.
Yeah. So I'll get into the plot synopsis, and we'll once the songs come up in the plot synopsis, we'll talk about those.
Sure.
All right. So we start, and it's almost summer. It's like right before the final bell for the final day of school, and everybody's like in class, waiting, counting down the time before summer starts. And then the bell rings, and they all sing a song, which is "What Time Is It?" What'd you think of this song?
I mean, I like that they let off with the song right from the start. The song wasn't my favorite though.
Yeah, I don't like this song, and it's way too long to me.
Yeah, I like that they captured like that feeling of like I can't wait to get out of school for summer, like where you're just like giddy and excited. Like I like that they captured that. But yeah, I thought the song was way too long.
Yep. But so then there's a brief pause in the song before it picks up again for like an ending, which was weird.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, I thought that was odd,
I was
too.
like, oh god, we're doing this some more?
Yeah. Agree.
But, yeah, then the bell rings and they're all, like, getting ready, going to their lockers and leaving, and we have, like, our, like a major theme set up, which is, like, everybody's worried about, like, getting a job so they can, like, make money or, like...
Safer car.
Yeah,
Yeah.
focused on, like, their, like, extracurriculars for their college applications, stuff like that. And, let's see, Sharpay has a plan brewing, and she's kind of ignoring her brother Ryan. Once again establishing herself as the villain, and, we get our setup for what'll be the plot. She's got a plan brewing. Also, she invites Kelsey for some work, who's the pianist from the last one.
Yes.
And then we have a scene where Troy and the basketball team are at his house, and they're kind of hanging out, and he gets a phone call of someone offering him a job, and he, like, parlays that into Gabriella getting a job there, as well as the rest of the Wildcats getting a job there.
That was funny to me from the start, because you're like, somebody's offering him a job, and he's like, oh, well, can I bring 15 other people? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then we find out the job's at a country club, and Sharpay arrives at the country club, and we find out, like, her family's, like, rich and, like, has a large stake in it. I don't think they ever, like, break down the specifics, but they're important people at the country club.
Yeah.
And she's, like, every year they do a talent show, and she always wins. And she's, like, gearing up to do that again, and she also is upset because she only wanted them to hire Troy, because she wants to, like, break Troy up with Gabriella so she can date him. But he invites the whole Wildcat crew, and she gets upset. Wait, hold on. There's a song in there that I missed. The upset part doesn't come till after. But yeah, she has a song called Fabulous, where she talks about how fabulous she is. What'd you think of this song?
I kind of thought this song was funny. I think it... I liked it, actually, because it just, like, spoke to her character,
Yeah.
I think it was kind of over the top, like she is. The one thing I will note in this song, like, the piano in the water was, like, so, like, extravagant to me. I was just, like, they're, like, playing the piano, like, in the water, and I'm going, like, that's so goofy, like... So, but it went with the song, like, it was just, like, how, self-centered she is and all that. Yeah, so I kind of liked it.
She wants the high, like, culture expensive stuff.
Yes, exactly. Like, she's just so over the top, and that's what the song conveyed, so, yeah.
But, yeah, I thought the song was fine. I don't really have any strong opinions on it, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then she gets upset and, like, talks to the manager, or whatever you call him. He's, like, a major player in all this. And she's like, because her mom thinks it's good for her if her, like, peers are hanging out there. And she's upset with this. And she says, because of that, the manager just can't fire him. So she orders him to make their lives miserable to try to get them to quit. So he does that. He's all, like, strict about them. And they all get upset. And they're like, man, this was supposed to be our fun summer vacation, not this crap. And then we have another song where Troy is trying to like convince them, nah, we can make this work, which is called Work This Out. What'd you think of this one?
This one didn't bother me. I did think it was, like, really goofy that they're like, oh, we have a job and we actually have to work and we're being held accountable,
Well, they're trying to portray him as not, like, just a summer job, but he's, like, being a real stickler for things and, like, being mean about it. But, like, because it's a Disney TV original, they, like...
Yeah.
don't go as hard as they could on that.
Right.
He's not actually that strict or mean.
Yeah, and I like how, Troy's in his, like, team captain mode. You know, bring everybody together. We're still gonna have fun, guys. Like, I think that's kind of a cute little thing.
Yeah. Decent song is just... I had totally forgotten about this song. So I guess I will note that it's kind of unmemorable.
It is, because I didn't
But,
even think about it
it's
either.
a fine song.
Yeah.
The melody's nice for the chorus.
Yeah.
And I like that the choreography took place in just like one shot, like one set, because a lot of the rest of these songs are always cutting and like going to all sorts of different places. So I like the more constrained thing here.
I agree with that, and that's not something I thought of myself when I was watching it, but now that you say it, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. So then at some point, I'm missing some of the plot, but it's not important. The basic thing is they're getting yelled at and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're kind of upset. But at some point, Kelsey, who's the pianist, invites Troy and Gabriella over to sing a song that she wrote. And Troy's still kind of reluctant about it, but Gabriella wants them and the rest of the Wildcats to sign up for the talent show. And then they do this song, which is You Are the Music in Me. Do you have any opinions on this one?
I thought it was cute. I like the whole storyline with Troy and Gabriella, especially like at the beginning where, like he gives her like the tea necklace. They, kind of like, committed in their little relationship to each other and like singing this little song. I thought it was nice how Kelsey, wrote it specifically with them in mind. Like, I like Kelsey's character and how like she is kind of manipulated by Sharpay, but she still does her own thing. So I think that's like a cute little thing that like on Kelsey. I thought that was like, I like that about her character, that she wrote this song for them.
Yeah, I didn't like this. I thought it was like a weaker version of the exact same thing they did in the last one.
It was.
Like, you remember where she had a song she wrote and Sharpay made like her own version of it? It's
yes,
I thought this was let's just do that again, and it's a worse version of that exact same thing again.
That's true. I just didn't mind the song. It wasn't like terrible to me.
I don't know. It's a boring like musical ballad to me, and I don't like those.
I thought it was better than the "What Time Is It" song.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, so that's that song. At some point, Troy and Chad get called in to caddy for Sharpay, Ryan, and their parents. And they're like apparently miserable to caddy for, but Sharpay's trying to use the fact that her dad has connections to a college's like admissions board to like lure him in, because he kind of like dangles the possibility of a scholarship in front of him, and he's all worried about the future and what he's gonna do. So he sort of like gets in with them, and he gets like whisked away to dinner. And so then where he's at like a fancy dinner talking to people, and he can't like get away. Earlier he had like asked Gabriella to go on a date with him after work, and he's missing that because of the dinner, and he's having a hard time getting out of it. And we cut to Gabriella after this thing's done, and she's kind of like upset about it, and Taylor's like, you shouldn't put up with this. It's bad that he's late for his date. And Troy shows up, and he's like, hey, give me a second to change, and we can go with our date, because he's wearing like a fancy suit. And he goes to do that, and he gets whisked away again to watch Sharpay do a musical number, which is our next song, Huma Huma Nuka Nuka Apu Wa'a. What'd you think of this one?
I thought this song was absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be, but...
Yeah, it's supposed to be terrible, but it was, like, super terrible to me. Like, yes. I just thought this song was just awful, and I'm like, I don't really think it added anything. No. It was, like, supposed to be this kind of, like, Hawaiian-inspired song, and it was just terrible. Like, the whole thing all around was terrible to me.
Like, I get that it's intentional, it's supposed to be bad, but that still means you have to sit there and, like, listen to and watch this whole, like, thing.
And it was long. Like, that's the thing. Like, if it's supposed to be a terrible song, like, why make it long?
Right, and it's, yeah. So, bad song. Also, it's racist.
Yes, I was like, I can't believe it, but, I mean, it was 2007, so...
Yeah.
Things were a little bit more lax then.
But then at the end of the song, Sharpay doesn't give Ryan his part and instead gives that part to Troy, or tries to. Troy doesn't want anything to do with this. And Ryan gets mad about this. More her neglecting him, and this is like kind of the final straw for him. He gets really mad and like storms off, and then like Troy's kind of like, this is weird, and then he runs off, and finally starts his date with Gabriella, but he's late, so it's kind of like a problem. It's our main themes getting set up here. Then they get caught doing this, which is the second time they've gotten caught, and Gabriella gets blamed for it because
they get caught swimming, right?
Guy.
Like
yeah, and
they're swimming, and they're not supposed to swim in the pool.
Yeah, and prior they were having a picnic on the golf course, and they got caught doing that.
Yeah.
But, so Gabriella gets in more trouble for that than Troy does, because, Sharpay wants to keep Troy there and have Gabriella leave. But then, Troy gets promoted from his normal kitchen duties to, being a full-time, like, golf instructor or whatever.
Yeah.
Which comes with a pay raise, as well as, like, it's an easier job, and at first he's reluctant, but then he, like, gets into it. And Sharpay shows up to quote-unquote learn golf. She's mostly there to kind of, like, flirt with him. And, people are suspicious of this, and as this goes on, Troy starts kind of, like, ditching them and, like, treating them poorly, and not, like, he meets with some, like, basketball players at the university and some boosters at the university, and he's kind of, like, ignores them in favor of his new, like, people he's hanging out with. And so everybody else in the Wildcats is worried about Troy acting like a jerk and, like, changing, and, Sharpay's happy about this. And Ryan is mad about Sharpay, like, ditching him, and eventually there's a baseball game that is for the staff that Troy ditches because he's busy doing his new friend stuff, and Ryan gets invited to, and he ends up going with them. And then we have our next song, which is I Don't Dance, where they sing a song while playing the baseball game. What'd you think about this one?
I actually liked this one. I thought it was kind of cute, especially because, like, Ryan hasn't really been portrayed as, like, part of the team type of thing. And this is when, like, they're like, yeah, you can come too. Like, they invite him into the fold, and then he's, like, inserting his, like, personality into it, so I thought this was a cute song. I liked it.
Yeah, I like this song, and for whatever reason, I remember this being, like, one of the favorites from this. I don't know if I'm, like, making that up or not. Yeah, it's a neat song.
It was cute. Yeah, I thought it was kind of creative, too, because they're, like, they're dancing while they're playing baseball, and I just thought, like, their movements and stuff, like, it was kind of cute. And, like, the guy who's, like, saying I don't dance, like, one of the teammates, whose name I forgot, but he's, like, obviously, like, doing kind of dancing stuff, like, while he's saying I don't dance. Like, it was cute.
Yeah.
I thought this was one of the better songs in the whole movie.
Yeah, and they end up, at the end of it, becoming kind of friends.
Yeah. I thought this was really cute, too, because, as you said, for the first time, Ryan kind of, like, sticks up for himself against Sharpay, and he kind of forges his own path, and he wasn't going to until, the teammates, like, invited him in, because he was like, oh, I'm not an employee, like, I can't come, and they're like, no, sure you can come, and so I thought it was, like, a really cute, like, they're including him, he wants to kind of have his own path now.
Yeah, and Gabriella invites him to direct the talent show for the employees instead of working with Sharpay.
Yeah, and I think this is the first time they're kind of showing him, like, you can be on your own, you can have your own identity, you can do what you really love to do without her approval.
Yeah. After this, Troy gets roped into doing Sharpay's, like, musical number, which she took Kelsey's, like, again, like in the last movie, took Kelsey's song that she wrote and did her own version up of it. So, what'd you think of this song, You're the Music and Me, Sharpay's version?
Once again, terrible. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess once you hear the first version that's meant for Gabriella, when Sharpay takes it as her own, of course she's gonna put her, like, Sharpay flair to it. And yeah, I didn't think it was good. I mean, for the movie, for the purposes, it's fine. Like, they're showing, like, she has to make everything over the top. And she took this like kind of sweet song that was supposed to be for the couple, and she like made it into her own to try to like, first of all, like impress Troy and also like take something that wasn't hers kind of thing. And in doing so, she like kind of forced Kelsey to like change up the stuff that she wrote. Like she didn't want to, but she did anyway, so it showed her character, obviously.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the song.
Yeah, I mean, once again, to me, this is just a worse version of what they did in the last movie.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, like, I think this song's particularly bad. It's this, like, weird, over-the-top, like, over-polished, classic rock-inspired song.
Yes,
yes. This, like, corporate rock stuff is just nasty sounding.
Yeah, it was not cute.
Yeah, and then we have more, Troy fighting with friends and Gabriella, they get in an argument or something, and Troy's been missing more and more, like, things with Gabriella and the rest of the crew, and at some point, Gabriella leaves, and, we play our next song, Gotta Go My Own Way. What'd you think of this one?
I liked the song. I thought it was cute. Of course, it's, like, super dramatic, the emotion that's in it and all this stuff. I kind of think, like, and I guess I'll get to this after we finish the synopsis, but it's kind of like one of those, like she's standing up for her boundaries and like just kind of saying like, you know what, you do you, I'm gonna do me right now. So it's kind of like this bittersweet type of song, but I liked the song. I thought it was a cute song.
Yeah, I like this song a lot. I like the like genre it's in, that kind of like pop rock, sort of sad. Yeah. Like, there were a ton of songs on the radio at the time that sounded like this. So
yes.
Like, kind of a watered-down version, but still, I think, a good song. Good genre.
A Disney version.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like you said, the melodrama. Perfect for the teenage sort of,
exactly.
like, leaving emotions,
The angst of it all. Yeah, I think it was good. It displayed that emotion, and I kind of like how they had Gabriella just like, let's just take a beat. Like, you figure your stuff out. I'm still gonna do me. I like that sentiment of the song.
Yep, and she leaves. At some point in here, I don't remember exactly when, the staff gets banned from doing the musical, because Sharpay finds out Ryan's going to be, like, helping them, and she gets all upset and doesn't want them to upstage her, so she gets them, like, banned through the manager. Or not, like, banned, but they'll be working instead of being able to do it.
Yeah. And to the manager's credit, he's kind of, like, pushing back, like, no, I'm not going to do this, but then he ends up doing it anyways.
Yeah. And Troy's all upset. He has, like, a crisis of conscience, and he's like, oh, what's happening, because his friends are all like, you're changing, and he's like, oh, I gotta focus on the future, and he's all like, man, I don't know what's happening, and he has conversations about that, and stuff like that, and eventually he decides he's gonna turn his life around, and then we get our next song, Bet on It. What'd you think about this?
I like this. I do think, like, Zac Efron's, like, dance moves here were just incredibly Disney. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah,
but it
goofy.
was just like yeah, it's really goofy. It was such an over the top, like, but I feel like, I like the song itself, but it really was like so over the top that it was kind of comical at this point.
It felt to me like they didn't know what to do choreography-wise with a solo performer on a solo song, so they just kind of have him, like, flailing about and, like, making weird poses. It was a lot.
Like this kind of, like, power ballad moves or something.
Yeah, I know, it's strange.
It was kind of, like, really goofy to me, but also, like, I mean, it fits for, like, a musical. It kind of brought back, like, way back memories of, like, the original Grease and Grease 2, like, those kind of moves, that it just, like, it was really kind of a funny thing to me.
Yeah, but I do like this song.
Yeah.
I think it's a good song.
I think it's definitely definitely, again, one of the better songs in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, so after this, Troy decides to make up with his friends. He's like, oh, I've been treating y'all wrong. Let's get back together or whatever. And the talent show comes up, and Sharpay's all devastated because Troy's like, I'm not gonna do it, I'm done, I'm back to the old me. And Ryan's like not working with her either because she pushed him out. And eventually Troy's like, well, I guess I'll go do the song with Sharpay. And she's like, she starts to have a change of heart at this moment. And then Ryan like has him learn a new song. He's like, oh, we're doing this new song. But secretly, he's cutting out Sharpay. And the new song involves the whole staff, and Gabriella ends up coming back for it. And this song is Every Day. What'd you think of this?
I thought it was cute. I like how, I mean, it was definitely predictable how they're like, oh, we're doing this new song. And then Gabriella like appears out of nowhere, like singing the other part of the song. Like it was kind of a surprise to them both that like, both of them were involved in the song. It was kind of like their way of like matchmaking, getting them back together again, getting the whole team back together. So the premise of it was cute. I didn't mind the song. I don't think it was like spectacular, but it was a cute song.
I thought it was boring.
Yeah.
That's just, like a boring musical ballad. Not my type of thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the talent show goes well. Everybody's happy. Everybody's back together. Sharpay ends up giving Ryan the trophy. She's learned the error of her ways. And then we get a celebration scene where fireworks go and, like, the whole, or, like, the crew's here. And then we have another celebration scene with a musical number that closes out the film. And this is All for One. What did you think of this?
It was okay to me. It wasn't my favorite, but it was a cute, like, the whole team's in it together type of thing.
Yeah, they're having a pool party or whatever.
Yeah. By this point, I was kind of like, I felt like the song was very long.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I was kind of like ready for it to end by this point.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't like this song. It's like, I don't know. More boring musical stuff.
It was just kind of, yeah, it was kind of boring, honestly. Yes, it was kind of boring. I just felt like it was so long.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe it wasn't, but it just felt long. But I mean, I thought the scene was cute where they're like partying and having a good time with each other. Like the fun summer is back.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see why, like, people would like this sort of song. But to me, this is just, like, totally superfluous.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like having, like, a closing type of thing, but it just, yeah, like I said, kind of boring.
Yeah, that's the plot synopsis.
Yeah. So, I guess, like, one of my thoughts during, like, watching this was, so this is kind of like one of those difficult things, like, in the teenage years where you're like, do I stay and have fun with my friends, or do I focus on my future and the opportunities that are presenting themselves now? So we see, like, Troy is kind of in this, like, crossroads where he has to pick, like, do I do these things that, like, aren't really like myself to, like, get this better opportunity, or do I, like, stay hanging with my friends? So it's kind of goofy to me because, of course, everything's, like, so dramatic, like, in the teenage years. And, of course, for the purposes of this movie, obviously, like, there's all this, angsty drama. But I'm kind of going, like, okay, it shows a lot of immaturity because, like, your friends should be happy for your success, whether this is, like, real success or not. If there's opportunity, like, you're like, yeah, definitely go take it. Like, hey, you got a promotion? Like, take it. You're making more money. You could save for the future. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you don't want it to be at the expense of your friends, but there's kind of like a line here where I feel like his friends are trying to hold him back a little. Not purposely, but, like, they're like, you've changed. And he's like, well, I'm trying to take advantage of this opportunity, So, like, it's one of those things that, of course, like I said, for the movie is overly dramatic. But at the same time, you're like, you should still take advantage of opportunities that will secure your future, Like, but you need to do it in a way that, like, you're not stepping on your friends.
Yeah, I mean,
and I
he
don't
was
think
being
he was
a
stepping
jerk
on
to
his
them.
friends.
Well, the thing is like, he was, like, ignoring them and, like, forgetting about, like, previously established, like, get-togethers he was gonna do with them. And there was that one time where, like, they were waiting on him and he, like, looked for a second like he was gonna be, like, oh, hey, here was, because he was talking to that basketball player. It's like, oh, this is one of my teammates, you know, maybe, like, introduce his team to the, like, university basketball player, instead of being like, oh, he does something dismissively, and he's like, go, like, do waiter stuff, fix my sandwich, instead of treating him as, like, his friend.
Yeah, I get that, but I think, like, you know, when he has a chance to go play basketball, like, with the basketball team at the university, like, absolutely go play basketball with the university. Like, don't sit here and play, like, playground ball with your friends. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a line between, like, that part that you described was obviously, like, dismissing him, but other parts of it are like, yeah, go take that opportunity, man. Like, you know, so I think, like, that to me was kind of difficult to watch in the way that, like, some of these opportunities he absolutely should have taken, and his friends were making him feel bad about it. And his girlfriend. But I think, like, he needed to, like, set the expectations where, like, yeah, I can play with you guys, but, like, right now I'm going to play with them, you know? Like, I think, like, he needed to manage that a little bit better, but I just didn't like how they like played out some of the opportunities, because, like, I don't know that it's, like, teaching, and I guess I'm, like, going too far into it, but, like, young adults need to know, like, hey, sometimes opportunities are going to present themselves, and don't pass it up just because you want to be buddies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That to me was kind of like, It's also selfish on his friend's part. Like, I mean, Gabriella, he absolutely should have, like, been very clear with her on, like, what was going on. You know, I think she would have understood.
Well,
but instead, he's trying to juggle everything.
Yeah. Part of it, say he was, like, missing dates, and, like, missing, like, he had promised her, I'm gonna do this thing, and
He's
then he ends up not doing that thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not over-promising, it's just blowing off commitments, which is a bad thing to do.
I think he felt like, I say over-promising because I think he felt like he could do it, and then, like, things just kept happening where he couldn't get to her, you know what I mean? Like, so I think part of it, that's why I say over-promising. Like, he felt like he was going to do it, and then he just ended up not doing it. It wasn't like he, like, intentionally made plans with her to not do them, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but that's still a crappy thing to do.
Yeah, it's crappy, but, like, I'm just kind of, like, going, like, just be more clear in your communication. Like, she would have understood,
yes.
You know? But, again, it's a Disney movie. Yeah,
the number of stories
like
that could be resolved with be clear in your communication.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't like how they were, like, making him feel guilty for wanting to have an opportunity. I think that part was just kind of like, you know, I don't think you should make somebody feel guilty for wanting to have better opportunities for the future.
I don't think that's what it was. I think he was being a jerk. It's a like, gain the world but lose your soul plot. You know?
Yeah, I get that. But I think some of it he was being a jerk. Some of it he wasn't. Like I said, missing like a playground basketball game with your team to go have an opportunity to play with a university team. Like, I think that's goofy if you don't do that, you know? So, I don't know. I guess I have a differing perspective on, like, you know, on that kind of thing. Some of it was rude, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I take it you don't like the message of this film?
Not really, because I think, like, part of it, like, he was smart to focus on his future and to take opportunities. Now, the other part where he's, like, Sharpay's little pet, like, obviously he's, like, being short-sighted, but again, he's a kid. Like, he's a high school kid. Their brains aren't fully formed. So, like, I totally get if he's, like, messing with people, you know, inadvertently, because he doesn't know how to juggle this. These are adult things that he's, like, trying to juggle as a high schooler. You know what I mean?
Whoa, so, yeah.
But I guess my perspective is different as an adult. Like, as an adult, I'm like, you shouldn't make people feel guilty for trying to have better opportunities. Again, I know I'm going way deeper into this musical than I should be, but I didn't like that part of it.
That's the plot, you know? That's not you're not going, like, way deeper in. like, the thing I think you're missing is, you're trying to make it, like, more of a, like, actual teen drama, whereas this is a lot less, like, this is a lot more just a gain the world but lose your soul plot. And
Well, yeah, but like his dad is like he goes to his dad for advice, right? That's his dad.
yeah, and his coach.
Okay, yeah, that's where I got a little. I was like, yeah, that's his dad, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes to his dad like for advice, and his dad's like, yeah, absolutely take the opportunities. Of course, he doesn't explain all the nuances to his dad, but as an adult, I would be saying the same thing. Like, yeah, your friends will understand. Like, yeah, definitely try to get a scholarship. Absolutely, like, but obviously, like Sharpay is like the master manipulator here, as she was in the first one, and she's like playing this game of 3-dimensional chess. And so I think like her character is like spot on consistent with the first one.
Yeah, she's the villain.
Yeah, she's the villain. I love how she turns it around. I absolutely love how like Kelsey holds her own. I just love her character. I like how she holds her own, and she's still, she's trying to appease Sharpay because she knows it's less painful to appease her. And she's also trying to do her own thing by like writing the music and bringing everybody together. I like that Ryan like branches out on his own. He becomes part of the team, kind of finds his identity a little bit away from Sharpay. Like I think that's
second big character, I think.
Yes, I love this storyline for him. I do think like Zac Efron, like young Zac Efron doing these like power ballad dance moves is just so funny to me, because to see him now, like he's grown up, like he's way bigger, like physically, you know what I mean? Like I can't see him dancing like that now. But seeing like the young Zac Efron is always funny to me. Like Vanessa Hudgens, I think is I like her in this. She's like a sweet little character. But that she still holds her boundaries, like, and I love the team dynamic and like how they all come together at the end. So overall, good movie. Not that into it as an adult, I guess. And as somebody who's not really that into musicals, but I can see why it was so popular. But again, as I said, like I have a friend who like will still watch these every now and then, and I'm kind of like, that's not gonna be me.
No, yeah.
Like one and done, I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I think structurally this movie kind of falls apart at the end because like it's just like Troy realizes he's messed up, and then the movie just ends. Like everybody gets back together and it's all fine. I think there should have been a little bit more time given to that. I mean, I guess it's all given to music. Like, to the songs.
Yeah.
Which, like, I mean, that's what people are here for. It's a musical. But, I don't know, I felt like it they're just kind of like, okay, the movie's over now. Here's some songs.
Yeah, like, let's all sing and dance together at the end. Which, I mean, that's what a musical is. But I do think there were a bit too many song and dance combos.
Yeah.
As I said, I kind of was getting a little bored in the middle and at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say there's some high highs on this. I think I Don't Dance, Gotta Go My Own Way and Bet on It, or solid songs, good musical numbers, and the rest of the songs are just kind of... I don't hate all of them, but they're weaker, like pretty weak, especially compared to the first movie.
The very first song, like starting off with the What Time Is It, not a strong song to me. I thought it was kind of goofy.
You want a fun fact about that?
Yeah.
According to what I'm reading here, that song reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Oh, stop it. I don't even remember this song in 2007. Like,
apparently it was on the radio.
I don't remember it on the radio, but...
No.
I mean, maybe I just wasn't listening to...
Maybe not, no.
To Disney radio songs. I don't know. I probably switched it. Like, if it came on the radio, I'd probably change the channel.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was probably still in my CD phase.
Oh, yeah.
In 2007, to be quite honest. I probably was still playing my burned CDs, so I just totally glossed over this.
Yeah. But I want to say again, not as funny as the first one.
No.
And overall, I think a weaker movie than the first one. But, it's still fine. I mean, like you said, I'm not going to watch this again.
Yeah. It's worth noting that this had like rave reviews. Like people absolutely loved it. Like they thought it was better than the first one, like according to what I've read online.
Yeah, apparently broke viewership records too, so it was
Yeah.
like a huge deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And I mean, yeah, it was just a funny, I think it's funny to watch like this older stuff because it's like I totally missed it when it was like really popular.
Well, you weren't
So,
in the
like,
age
watching
range,
it
you
now.
know?
No, well, I mean, but like some of my friends were, so it's kind of, but I
Yeah.
think it's those people who love musicals and love
Yeah,
Disney and
love
love all
Disney
that
stuff,
stuff. Like
yeah.
I was, yeah, I've never been like, I
Yeah.
guess as a kid I was, but like I've never been like a musical Disney lover, so.
But yeah, not the worst thing I've seen.
No, but it is funny to like end our spooky season podcast with this.
Yeah, I thought that was a good joke.
Yeah, it is a good joke because, I was scared watching it. No, not really, but you know what I mean.
But yeah, is that everything?
I think so. I'll go ahead and take us out. So
Yeah.
this has been Beach View, the end of our scary viewings. Join us next time. Bye.
Bye.